4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, welcome to the program. You're with the Editor-in-Chief and we are live. Great to have you company this morning. I'm Duncan, Garner, and today the Police Association reacts to claims that I made on the podcast yesterday that South Auckland has a massive shortage of cops, 80 cops short, because a huge chunk of them have moved to Auckland CBD as part of that marketing exercise, or across to Australia, of course. Family harm incidents are not being followed up, and generally police are so stretched they are admitting they can no longer do the job that the public demands of them. Also on the podcast, he gets shit done, and he puts his boot firmly up the arse of those who need it. That's Auckland Mayor Wayne Brown. He joins me in his crusade over the overzealous traffic management and the cone mania in the city. So we'll look at that. Is it out of control? It can no longer be justified. It's not productive, is it? That's what he says. So we'll look at this. And also, I want to look at the rise of audiobooks as well. Jump on the YouTube or TikTok link. Leave a comment there on YouTube. Let us know what your thoughts are. It's news time. And here is MediaWorks Deputy News Editor. It is Grace Cocker. Very good morning to you.
Two US reality contestants filming in New Zealand are blaming hunger for clouding their judgment and eating a weka. Corey and Oliver were disqualified from Race to Survive New Zealand. On the show, the pair admit they were warned not to touch the protected bird.
You get into that mindset of starvation mode. There's this very deep need to eat, and there was this idea, just break the rule.
The abolishment of Health New Zealand's board is being met with questions. A commissioner will now take charge following concerns about overspending. But Auckland University's Dr. Tim Tenbensel says we're actually pretty frugal.
Certainly not spending as much on our health system compared to other countries such as Australia, Canada, European countries.
A helicopter will take to the skies this morning to access a large fire in Canterbury. The blaze near Lake Pukaki is around 50 hectares in size. Angry lawmakers are grilling the boss of the Secret Service over the assassination attempt on Donald Trump's life. Kimberly Cheetah acknowledged the agency failed during the shooting. There have been some pretty testy scenes this morning.
Have you provided all audio and video recordings in your possession to this committee, as we asked on July 15th, yes or no?
I would have to get back to you.
That is a no. You're full of today.
To sport, former coach Sir Graham Lowe has issued a stinging rebuke of the Warriors over their narrow defeat on Friday. Lowe rates coach Andrew Webster as one of the best in the game, but believes the players have lacked class.
It might sound disrespectful to the players that are there, but to win the important games, you need class.
LeBron James has been named as a flag bearer for the US Olympic team. For this weekend's opening ceremony in Paris, the NBA star is honoured by the opportunity.
Definitely something that my family and my community and my friends is something that will live on forever, and super appreciative and super humble about it.
And the Poles have crushed the Tactics 58-44 to secure grand final hosting rights in netball's ANZ Premiership. That's news and sport.
Thanks, Grace. They ate a weka. They ate a weka.
So apparently they were in a campsite area. They were told multiple times, don't eat these protected birds, stay away from these plants, from these animals, etc., etc. But they did it anyway. And we've
how many did it
put bids
feed?
in with Doc to talk to them. I don't know. I haven't actually seen the show. It's only airing in the US at the moment.
Right.
So it's a big news. They've done it in Alaska, all sorts before. So it's a huge...
Protected, right? It's a protected
intense
bird.
Yeah, and there's been... I had a look back at some flashback episodes they did. I think in another episode someone killed a sheep, but the farmer apparently was paid. Hey, if we kill a couple of sheep, we're going to pay you for it. But
when you're starving.
Yeah, but a weka, come on.
No,
you
it's
were
predicted.
told, and I feel like starving is quite loose in a reality TV show world.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
What's the weirdest thing you've eaten?
Muscle ice cream that my mum made years ago.
Mine's donkey penis.
Ugh.
In China. Yeah, they serve them up, but that's well, I don't. If people find that strange, I don't know, but they serve up obviously small, medium, and large. I took medium. Yeah.
I can't. That
this
just
is on the
sounds
free
so
trade
gross.
trip. Yeah, no, donkey penis. Yeah, a bit salty, but that's a bit chickeny.
Oh, no,
I didn't go back for seconds.
Okay.
Duncan, Garner.
Yeah, tell me, what's the strangest thing you've eaten? Yesterday I made a number of claims about policing in New Zealand following an interaction I had with a senior South Auckland officer. This is what went down. Specifically, I said that South Auckland, the South Auckland district, also known as Counties Manukau, is about 80 cops short because they've been sent into Auckland CBD or they've shot through to Australia. Now, I said police are so stretched even serious crime is being put down the priority list as there simply is no one available to chase it. Family harm incidents can take 3 days to get to. Some are not seen at all. And generally, the crooks have worked it out that they can go and steal anything and no one's really going to do much about it, lay a finger on them, certainly not in the supermarkets anyway. Officers are beside themselves and overwhelmed by all of this. And then, of course, I also said that police are in no mood to depatch gang members on the side of the road. Certainly not when you're on, 80k. Policing on your own, outnumbered, and you don't feel like you're backed up by your own organisation. This is what I was hearing, you see. Chris Cahill heads up the Police Association, and he joins me now. Chris, g'day, welcome to the program.
Yeah, good morning, Duncan.
What's your take on what I was hearing? Is it? Am I wildly wrong, or is it about right?
You're not wildly wrong, but I wouldn't say you're right either. Look, it's a mixed bag out there, without a doubt. There is vacancies. It's a bit of a fluid, how many vacancies? We know that, at the end of March, there was 256, which doesn't sound like many, but if they're concentrated in certain places, that can be really harmful. For instance, we know the significant number of vacancies in Taurawhiti and Gisborne, equally down south. And they really hurt because they have small populations of police. So when you lose, 30 officers out of there, that really has an impact. South Auckland is always a pressure point. It's one of the busiest places in the country. And they have lost a number of people to Australia. Whether it's 80, I'd probably say that's a bit high from the last report I had from the district commander. But again,
what was the last report? What was the number that you got?
The number I got was closer to 40. But,
okay.
I mean, I do admit that things fluctuate. And since then, they've had to send at least 9 staff into the CBD for the beat section.
Well, there's 50.
So,
Yep.
And that also tells you where are they from. I mean, it's fine you say County Manukau, but if there's a disproportionate number in Papakura or Papatoe or Mangere, it can have a different effect on what actually the officers are feeling in their patch, and I'm very mindful of that.
So let's say it's between 50 and 80. That's a huge number of officers for an area that has always been an issue. Crime's always been an issue, and it's overridden with all sorts of social issues and social ills as well. So when you're 50 short, maybe 80 short, that's a huge number of cops. It puts pressure on all the other ones, you see.
Yeah, that's the real issue. It puts real pressure on the others, and it's the demand problems. The tap of demand just doesn't get turned off. It just keeps going up, whether it's family harm, whether it's mental health, whether it's burglaries. We know we've got a hell of a lot of a big increase in report of retail crime, and rightly so. A number of those retailers are really worried about the crime they face. So it's a real stretch, and police are going to have to make some really tough calls around what they prioritise and what the public expect police to be doing, because they can't do everything. No,
but I think we've always thought that maybe we want you to do everything. We expect as a shop owner that you'll turn up to the shop owner who's just lost $100 worth of whatever. It's simply not true that you can do that anymore, is it? I mean, you cannot prioritise supermarket crime. That's right down the order, isn't it?
Yeah, look, the first level you look at obviously is people in danger. Is it violence? Is there someone at risk? The mental harm issue, is someone trying to commit suicide, or is someone just having a bad day? You've got to prioritise, the people at risk, the harm, and then it flows down from there. The challenge is, of course, when you've already got all the cars deployed and something more serious comes in, suddenly you have to leave what may have been a semi-serious incident to go to a more serious one, and that's something that's pretty hard to stomach for a victim of crime.
Yeah, and this officer that I spoke to was saying that in the family harm area, there are some family harm incidents that aren't getting any follow-up at all because they've been deemed not serious enough. But you'd think most family harm incidents are worthy of some kind of visit. That's a really sad sort of position that we find ourselves in now, isn't it?
Well, no, I think this is something that has to change, Duncan, and that the problem is we use this word family harm. But 66% of family harm incidents actually have no criminal offending and at all. A lot of them are family dysfunction. And police have worked into the space, and they've added a risk matrix that's way too low, shall we say, for what they attend. And that means they're not available for so many other jobs. So police have to have a look at that and say, actually, if someone won't go to bed or someone won't turn the computer off, that is not a police problem.
Who's ringing the police because someone won't go to bed? You're killing me.
Oh, we get all sorts of crazy things. And this is the problem that police have stepped into and said, well, we know so much harm happens in family environments. We're going to set a really low bar and turn up to everything. But unfortunately, that's not practicable when you've simply got so much demand. So police need to triage a lot better and say, look, these incidents are a risk. We're going to go to those. These incidents, actually, you need some family harm, some family support, Oranga Tamariki, someone like that. It's actually your space, not the police space.
Yeah. With 256 officers short or vacancies to fill, how on earth do you fill those? Do you see the numbers of officers coming through that you're comfortable that they will get filled? Or, I mean, how on earth do you get people to go down to Gisborne if they're not from Gisborne, you know?
Yeah, well, what Gisborne are doing is that they've reinstated recruiting locally and doing some really good work there. But it's a real challenge in places like that. And look, we're in some ways, police are the victim of their own success. We recruited, about 1,550 new sworn officers over a 6-year period. We lifted the diversity. We got a lot of Māori, a lot of female, a lot of other ethnicities, and we've sort of perhaps run the well dry a little bit. So it's getting really tough. I think only time will tell. Police are telling me that the number of applicants for police has on average every month gone up from 350 last year to 500 this year. I'm a little bit sceptical. Let's just see how those numbers flow through. I mean, they're meant to have wings of 80 going through the college. They're only managing 60. So, we really want to see those good people coming through, but there's some real challenges, obviously. Pay has not gone well, and I'm really concerned that will see a number of people that were on the fence, number of officers on the fence, head to Australia, which are, there's some pretty good offers on the table over there.
Yeah, I got an email from a police officer last night who is on $92,000. He's been in the force 10 years. And he sent me a video of an Australian police officer after 6 months. They're on 92,000 Australian dollars. 6 months compared to 10 years here. It's just wrong, Chris. Something has to get sorted. Otherwise, it's going to continue this way forever into the future. The cops will see it and it's more attractive to go away. We've got to do something that stems the tide.
Look, one of the key things is, even without saying you're going to pay officers, you're going to change how much an officer earns. It's how early they could earn that. So what I'm trying to explain there is, if a police officer joins today, it will take them 21 years to get to the top of their pay band, which is about $106,000. It'll take them 21 years to do that, and that's total remuneration. That's superannuation and everything. A nurse or a teacher can get there in 7 years.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest change. If officers could get through to the top of their pay band quicker, they'd be rewarded for what they're doing at a more appropriate rate.
Well, why don't we work on that then? There's a solution. It may not that doesn't involve paying them up front anymore. That's a great solution. You've put that to government, obviously.
Yeah, well, it does cost money, obviously, because as you've got more lower down, you have to pay them higher quicker, but eventually it evens out. It's the matter of fronting up with the money at the front end to fix the problem, and that's where a government's going to have to come on board. We've got agreement from police that over the term of the current collective, we will negotiate how we fix this problem, and if we can't, an independent person will tell us the best way to fix the problem. The challenge after that is getting a government to fund the fix, but that's the biggest thing we could do to make a long-term change to how officers are rewarded.
Something's got to change, otherwise the flow out of the country is going to continue. But Chris, I appreciate your time on the program. All the very best, mate. Take care.
Thank you, Duncan.
Okay.
Duncan Garner, live.
Where's the quick fix in that? I don't think there is one. If you're sick and tired of waiting at stop-go signs and you find yourself searching for the tar seal amongst the millions of cones suffocating the city in Auckland, you have company in high places. Auckland Mayor Wayne Brown says it's road cone mania, and he says the use of temporary traffic management is nonsensical and hugely frustrating for people. I say it's been a debacle. I'm with Wayne on this. It's run by control freaks and zealots with no incentives in place for this to reduce. Yesterday, West Auckland traffic came to a halt because of this seriously over-the-top traffic safety plan that saw a concrete truck need access to a driveway for a few hours. In the meantime, they stopped the traffic in South Auckland and West Auckland. People rotted in their cars for hours. It's just ridiculous. Brown's comments come after a new report found temporary traffic management contractors have little incentive to work cheaper and faster. Doesn't that say it all? Auckland Mayor Wayne Brown joins me now. Tell us how he plans on putting a stop to all of this sort of madness. Wayne, welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the program. Appreciate your time.
Okay, g'day.
Nice to have you here. And good on you for doing something about this. What's going to be the net result of this? Firstly, you've said it's madness, so what are you going to do about it?
Well, I've been going about it for a while. We have limited control over Auckland Transport, but they have listened and they've done what they can and saved a certain amount. But in fact, the code of practice which comes out of the New Zealand Transport Agency is written in a manner which is exploited by the companies who provide traffic management, and so I commissioned this independent report to come up with some clear guidelines for the government. Are listening to me and changing quite a few rules and regulations which make it hard to run Auckland efficiently.
Yeah.
And this one here lays it out exactly I'm hoping that they'll just get on with it. Of course, I'll give it to the minister. He'll take it to Wellington, and I think he kind of gets it, but the bureaucrats down there won't want to borrow that. They'll want to write their own report.
Yeah, well, they're the problem, Wayne. That's the problem. They've been given charge of these rules and reports, and they've written far too much. There's been far too much committee think and group think, and that's our problem now. Everybody wanted to say they've got one cone per person. Everyone's got a cone, that's been writing these reports. It's bloody ridiculous.
Yeah, well, I don't. The problem is, and it's quite across more than this area, is that the people who make the rules don't understand the economic impacts of those rules. They don't, and nobody in any of the transport agencies, AT or NZTA, could explain to me what the commercial drivers for the industry were. The people in the industry know exactly what the commercial drivers are. But they know how to maximise the amount of income that they get out of this. I want to be able to charge people to use our roads. If they want to stick a whole lot of cones and park their trucks in there, they've got to start paying. It turns out that's actually legally quite difficult to do, even though we own the roads. It's been allowed to happen without anyone thinking about the consequences.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where they say the word safety in Wellington and everybody bows down. We have the WorkSafe rules in New Zealand are quite ludicrous, really.
Do they have a mandate to be on the roads as much as they are, Wayne? I mean, are they legally and lawfully there?
Well, they're not legally prevented. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's your problem.
And they do get a mandate, and it all comes under safety. But so it's not safety at reasonable cost. It's safety at any bloody cost.
Yeah.
And now we've got to the stage where the safety plans cost more than the work that you're doing. If you're digging a drain out there, it'll cost you more per metre to traffic safety than it will for the actual drain.
Well, what about the pedestrian crossings? I mean, at $500,000 for a pedestrian crossing, $200,000 of that is a traffic safety management plan around a crossing. Come on.
Yeah, well, this is it's got out of control, and so I wrote this report aiming at the economics of it, because the economics of it are to understand why the people in the industry are making so much, and what are the rules influence the decisions that they make. And they've worked out how to make money out of this. There's no question about that.
Just clear this up for me. Just clear this up for me. How each time I see a cone, who owns that cone? Who's paying for it?
Well, in certain circumstances, that in itself is not that easy either.
Oh, really?
The cones are owned by the traffic management companies. Who's paying for it? Quite often it's you and I, because it goes on a public road and they pay a certain amount. They don't pay nearly enough to be there. It's just another.
How much do we pay for a cone per day? What's the figure?
Well, you see, some of them have worked out that they were provided. They hide those within the traffic management quote for the whole traffic management plan. It's not even clear, and the people who pay it out don't understand it either. So that they can't. Already, we've had some of the traffic management companies fighting back and saying, "No, I've got it wrong."
You need to almost freeze it and start again. Freeze the whole plan and start again, because we're being ripped off.
Well, they would say that, But so this is why we commission EY to do it separately. What's happening and what they're finding is that what we're getting is what we expect. That there'll be a shitload of money taken to provide a hell of a lot of cones for no particular benefit. And if anyone, and there's very little of that whole transport stuff has cost benefit in it. Yeah. Quite a few of the new roads come from vote benefit rather than cost benefit.
Yeah. Well, good luck getting on top of this one, Wayne. Battle
on for a while.
Yeah. Keep kicking their ass, because the ratepayers hate it. We're sick of these cones. They're slowing us down, slow the economy down, slow everything down for no reason half the time.
Well, not for a good reason, and not for a reason which is valuable in relationship to the disruption that they cause.
Exactly.
Basically, they're milking our disruption.
They are.
That's what they are.
They are.
Okay?
Yep. Hey, thank you, Wayne.
Right.
I appreciate it, mate. Take care.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
Right.
Yep. Keep in touch.
Duncan Garner, live.
Yeah, right. 0800 863 293. I hate cones. I drove over a few at the weekend on purpose. I now target them. The cone hater. Yeah, I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of it. Right, I'll do 3 questions. We'll knock off 3 questions.
3 questions from the editor-in-chief.
At number 1, why is National sacking the entire board at Health New Zealand? Well, it's because the organisation's bleeding cash and National doesn't trust them anymore, doesn't trust those in charge. They are Labour appointees and National wants to find out what is really going on behind the scenes. But all this lack of consensus on the big issues, it holds us back as a country. And most of all, we the voter are left with nothing at the end of it. 6 years they build this thing up and then 6 years they come and tear it down and demolish it. Where does it leave us? Out of pocket and no better off. I consider it shameful. And number 2, how much longer will it be the first home buyers market in New Zealand? Not long. The clock's officially begun. On the window that closes all the major banks, they've all moved. They've all moved on interest rates and they're coming down. Here's my pick. August, you'll see a 0.25 cut from Adrian Orr and again another 0.25 cut in October. And from there you'll get probably another 7 or 8 house price movements down in terms of the OCR. They will come down steadily over time. And the house prices will finally go up again, I think.
3.
At number 3, number 3 on this one. Here we go. How do I get this? Will the inter-island ferries be safe for another 5 years? Apparently so. Apparently they're all okay. Their life's been miraculously extended, and that saves National from spending too much in the next 5 years. In a 5 years' time, they can hand the keys back to the Beehive and the boats and say to Labour, your problem once again. Again, as voters, we're left with little confidence that anything's been achieved. In fact, nothing would have been achieved. Good morning.
Duncan Garner, live.
Right, I want to talk about audiobooks. Audiobooks are... have come into the market. We used to have 1 million of them. Now there's something like 5 million. It's absolutely gone through the roof. Astonishing. Massive. The other day I was up north and my friend was cutting up some fish for the cat downstairs, and I went down and I heard someone talking to her, and I said, what's that? She goes, oh, it's my audiobook. And I said, that is amazing. Absolutely amazing. I hadn't come across them, hadn't heard much about them, but I know they've gone big, really big, astonishingly big. So what is the future of them, and what are we going to do? What are we going to do with them into the future? I just want to get to my man here. The industry's gone massive. So $5 billion US now, $5 billion US, but it's profiteering as well. It's profiteering. Well, not necessarily. A new audiobook platform just launching in New Zealand is being run as a social purpose corporation. So when you buy an audiobook, you can also select a brick-and-mortar bookshop to receive a commission from it. You see, that's what's happening. Nick Johnson, co-founder of Libro.fm, joins us now to explain how it all works. Nice to see you. G'day.
Hey, good day.
Hey, so how does it working? So just for people, because it's so hard to get kids to read books, right? So this is the future, man. This is really the future. How does an audiobook work?
Audiobook works, so the producer who produces a print book quite often produces an audio version of it too. That audio version is sent out to different suppliers, biggest being Amazon's Audible, Spotify, and whatnot. We started as a way to make people who want to listen to audiobooks be able to purchase those through their local bookstore and support their community.
So how does it work? So if I have a device, you load the book. How does it get loaded?
Yeah. So pretty much everyone has an audiobook player in their pocket now on their smartphone or whatnot. We have a free app that you can download, and when you buy the book, it just shows up magically. You hit the button, you start listening. It's easy, man.
It's good technology, because but what it does is you can do something else.
Heck yeah.
And that's so crucial in our society now. Do something else as well as something else in the meantime.
Yeah.
So you're getting read to.
Oh, yeah. I mean, people, you're gardening, you're knitting, you're walking. I have some old classic cars. I'll literally be under my car working on the engine, listening to an audiobook.
Yeah, you see, so you can do two things at once. Yeah. And this is what society is demanding now of technology, isn't it?
Yep.
So what's the experience like, though? Does the book stay in your head? When you read a book, some books, you can get so lost in them, you know what I mean? Can you get 100%. Lost in an audiobook?
Oh, even more so than a print book, because you have someone reading it to you, which is really the oldest version of storytelling. Some audiobooks are being narrated by a celebrity or someone you know, or you're familiar with. Sometimes you have full cast narration, so there's 3, 4, 5. There's a book by George Saunders called Lincoln in the Bardo, 144 narrators. It's just an amazing experience.
Can you choose? How do you choose a narrator? Because
you don't.
You can't choose.
The publisher chooses, and
this will come though, won't it?
Yeah. With AI, there are some interesting things with AI. Obviously, you don't want to choose like a actual human that's recognizable with their name, because that gets into some really weird territories. But there's some other interesting things you do with AI narration.
So to those people that are narrating it, are they? Is that AI generated, or are they actually read the whole book to you?
Traditionally, up to this point, it's almost always been a human reading the entire book. There's voice narrators or voice talent. They're really, really good at this. I mean, they're fantastic. AI is starting to play a part in that, but it's mainly humans. It's a different experience.
And who is picking up the experience? Who's rushed towards audiobooks?
You know, traditionally it was mainly women and a little bit older, but as with the rise of podcasts, the demographics going younger, demographics going more male.
Do you liken the audiobook to the rise of the podcast as well? Because it's just phenomenal.
100%. Especially serialized podcasts where each episode is like a chapter of an audiobook. It's really contributed a lot to the growth in audiobooks.
Yeah. And what about kids? What about kids' experience with audiobooks?
Well, you touched on it right there. It's a fantastic way for kids to get, they're basically born with earbuds now. So it's a great way to introduce them to reading. And also a lot of kids, especially kids with dyslexia or whatnot, they can listen to audiobook while looking at the physical book. And then obviously car rides. As a parent, having my kids listen to audiobooks on a long car ride was like a lifesaver.
Another device though, isn't it? It's them with another device, but they need to read books. Recent school holidays, our challenge was to get our son to read a book.
Yeah.
Do you think it happened?
I hope so, but I'm guessing no.
We got to the first base. I think he started.
How old's your son?
Almost 14.
Oh, man, I can suggest a dozen books that he would love on audio because it's a different experience. And like you said, he could do something else while he's doing it.
Yeah, see, that's the bonus for them. And are kids rushing towards this?
Their parents are definitely pushing them towards it, and some kids are just all over it and they love it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of great kids, middle grade and young adult books on audio.
What about New Zealand? What's the profile like in New Zealand?
So New Zealand, there's a lot of books available. We have about 500,000 books available to the New Zealand audience, but there's really not many New Zealand authors yet whose audiobooks are being produced. So that's one of the reasons I'm here in New Zealand is working with publishers and advocating for that.
And what are the traditional publishers? What's their view of it?
They're starting to get into it.
They're going to have to, aren't they?
They're going to have to. And they're starting to. And actually, there's some government funding to help create more New Zealand authored audiobooks too. So everything's moving in the right direction.
So to get your book onto an audio platform, what's the process?
You work with your publisher, or if you're a self-published author, there's some other services out there like Authors Republic where they'll help you get it recorded and then it'll get pushed out to all the platforms.
Are we seeing the death of the book?
No. Definitely not. No, the print book is solid. It's not going to grow dramatically. Like audiobooks are growing like 30% year over year.
Yeah, so with that growth, does that come at the same cost to books?
Yeah, so that's actually, it's interesting. That's one of the kind of misnomers right now is that audiobooks are going to slice away from the pie of print book sales.
Yeah.
But what we're really seeing is making the pie bigger. A lot of people listening to an audiobook, loving it, going to their bookstore and buying the print copy like as a trophy to put on their bookshelf.
That's what they're doing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
What's the promotion you've got going on?
Right now, we're just partnering with local bookstores. So we want anyone in New Zealand who's interested in listening to audiobooks and not sending their money to space to go into the local bookstore, ask about it. We got a 3 audiobooks for 1 promotion going on right now. But go talk to your local bookstore; they'll hook you up.
Good on you. Hey, nice to see you. All the very best.
You too. Thank you very much.
Appreciate your time.
Duncan Garner, live.
Okay, leave us a comment on YouTube or on TikTok. Nice to see you. And let's go slam dunk. Let's do this.
It's the slam dunk.
Well, I think the Prime Minister, Christopher Luxon, appears oblivious to what is actually happening under his very eyes and under his very nose. The country is being drained of its frontline and crucial workers, the ones that have trained here and are recognised here as good law-abiding taxpayers and the sort of people that we need to, quite frankly, stick around. And at the top of this list, we're losing the very people that we can least afford to lose: nurses, teachers and police officers. And what does Kojak do about it? He gets to office and the numbers of people continue to leave the country. They pour out. They don't slow down one bit, which is interesting. National's rise to power has not seen it happen, and basically people have voted with their feet. And even greater numbers in the past 5 months. No one believes the economy is suddenly going to get better, and people are leaving because there are more and better jobs offshore, better opportunities, and they're better paid. Luxon should have had better pay deals in front of all these workers to stem the tide. Truth is, we have to spend the money to train the replacements anyway, so let's cut across that by paying them properly at the first place, showing them that they have a long-term future in New Zealand. We can't brush this under the carpet every year. It must be fixed. It simply has to be fixed. Usually a national victory sees the numbers exiting the country slow a bit, but not at this time. And Luxon's biggest failure is his inability to directly address these vocations and put in some kind of rescue plan to keep these freshly trained workers here. It's the definition of madness to think by doing nothing about any of this, everything will change for the best. It won't. He's leaving it to the market, and I say it's outrageous. And it's a massive blind spot. We simply can't afford to lose many more. Close on 400 cops left last year, the majority to Australia. How on earth are we going to put on 500 new cops in 2 years when we lose 900 over the same period and there's 267 vacancies, as we just heard? I got an email from a police officer who I will not name, but he says this. I got this yesterday. Good morning, Duncan. Your slam dunk this morning was spot on. I don't know which police officer you spoke to, but they're 100% correct. Every police officer I've spoken to, bar one, has said that morale in the organisation is at an all-time low. I know many who are looking for other jobs as they cannot deal with the organisation anymore. We as the police are letting the public down big time. This is not a new thing. It has been going on for years. I've worked in both counties Manukau and Auckland, and there is the same issue in both districts. It's not uncommon for us to start our shift with 30 111 calls waiting to be attended. 30 111 calls waiting to be attended. That's your emergency call line waiting to be attended. Now, if that's new information, then run with it. Shocking. Hey, we're starting work today with 30 emergency calls that haven't yet been addressed. I've added a short video of an interview with a Queensland police officer, this officer writes, who has only been out of college for 6 months and is on the same pay in Aussie dollars as I am here in New Zealand, as a sergeant who's been in it for 10 years. I don't know what will fix this, but it's about time that our brass and our organisation step up and sort things out. I'm passionate still about policing and helping people, and I love most of the staff I work with. I can deal with the night shifts and I can deal with weekends and abuse from criminals, but I'm not sure I can cope with the organisation anymore. For the record, I earn $92K after 10 years. That's what the Aussie cop gets after 6 months. Go figure, he writes. And then he says, keep up the good work, and I hope one day that you will lead this country. The last bit's entirely not needed, and I can rule out that I won't run for Parliament. But it's well past time that Luxon and co address the pay issues. You know, our people are leaving. Stop being so damn tight and just go and do the right thing.
Duncan Garner, live.
Yeah, that is us. Kaylo.
Hello.
We're done. How's that, though? 30 111 calls waiting to be answered.
That is...
30 111 emergency calls. People ring 111 for an emergency.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
The fact that it's 30 calls, that's...
Oh, it's wrong, mate. It's just wrong. People ring 111. That's the bit that they trust. That's the bit that they think they'll get a service. But the ambo might take an hour to get there. The police might not even arrive in New Zealand now. So we need to lower expectations.
There's no point. Like when I've had issues and I've needed the police, I've just sort of brushed them off and tried to deal with them myself because it's like, well, they're so under-resourced.
They are now.
And that makes sense. 30 111 calls. I mean, shit, you're not going to get a result, are you?
But you also got to remember that the country's growing, so we're not only not keeping up, we're not keeping up with the population growth.
No, but we've probably got the same amount of police staff on the beat as we did 5, 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah, but the problem is the population's much bigger than the need is. Why?
And what they do is instead of going, hey, we're going to put more police on the beat so we'll get some more, we'll just move one from one station to the other and create an extra problem.
And that's bullshit. And let's call it what it is. Yeah. 9 police officers from counties Manukau get moved to the CBD so they can walk up around the city, making people feel safe again. Like, Nationals delivered. No, they haven't. They've taken cops out of South Auckland. And there are up to 80 police officers short in South Auckland. That's 2 stations worth of cops.
Oh, it's ridiculous. It is bloody ridiculous.
Yeah, and what's the answer? Oh, well, we'll reject your pay deal. That's going to see more Kiwi officers go to Australia.
What a bright idea. Who thought of that one?
Yeah.
Shit. I wonder what happened in the meeting when they were all looking around and go, hey, I've got an idea. Hey, Forrester, do you know what we're going to do? We're going to cut your pay. But do you know what you're going to do? You're going to do shitloads more and you're going to put your life at risk.
And you're
what
stay
a
loyal.
bright idea.
Someone in the comments wants to know your answer to fix it all.
Oh, well, that'll come tomorrow on the podcast.
Ah, okay. Yeah, tune in then.
No, my answer was just in my slam dunk. But it simply comes down to pay them more. This is not fancy and complex. I mean, they're not asking for foot massages and everything. They want to be paid more. Simple line by line what the Aussies are. An Aussie cop up to 6 months gets the same as one up to 10 years here. It doesn't crack. It doesn't work out. It doesn't stack up.
Yeah.
It's the bottom line, mate. There's my answer. What's theirs?
There you go.
That's the answer,
a
mate.
foot massage might be quite nice.
Well, you get
sure they can organise.
I'm sure you get that. You'll get that in the court as a young offender.
You probably get a bit like round here. You probably get a pizza party. Oh, there you go. You've done such a great job. Here's some pizza. Whoa!
Is pizza now the cheapest takeaway food because it's just basically cheese and dough? Is that now the
cheapest?
It's
like $7 from Domino's or something.
But with inflation going through the roof, did pizzas ever go up in price?
I assume so. Probably at some point.
No. I don't think they can move away from the $5 for that.
I tell you what's gone through the roof is fish and chips.
Yes. Well, we used to eat shark, didn't we? Whenever our father stopped in Thames, it was shark.
Yep.
Yeah. But now it's you have 5 different options, and it starts at $12 a piece.
Oh, no.
When did shark and tatty become so expensive? People said, well, it's no longer shark.
No, it's actually real fish. That's probably part of the problem. But anyway.
Yeah. Good stuff. That's us. Thank you, guys. To Miranda. Get well soon. Kaylo, thank you very much. It's Willie, isn't it? Willie, thank you so much for coming in and doing the business. Zarina and, of course, Forrester. We'll do it all again tomorrow. I'm Duncan at rover.nz. Send us your thoughts, your ideas, your feedback, anything, and we will react to it. You see, when people send emails, they make the slam dunk. When people send ideas, it makes the podcast, so keep them coming. That's us. Life's not a dress rehearsal. There's no curtain raiser. This is it. You're living in it, so make it a good one and enjoy the rest of the day. Take care, folks.
That was Duncan Garner, Editor-in-Chief Live. Missed something on the live stream? Text Duncan to 3598 to listen back on the podcast. Want to get in touch? Call 0800 863 293.